Hi YouTube, so today I'm going to be doing a review on the new card Tragoedia, and this card is going to come out of the Shonen Jump magazine, like a promo like Element Hero Stratos was, so it probably won't be more than like $10 or something, and this card's pretty important, and I think it's pretty good, so let's look at the effects and the stats. So it's level 10, Dark Fiend, and its effect is you can special summon this card from your hand when you take battle damage. This card gains 600 attack and defense for each card in your hand. Once per turn, you can send one monster from your hand to the graveyard to take control of one face-up monster your opponent controls with the same level as the sent monster. Once per turn, you can select one monster in your graveyard, and this card's level becomes the same as that monster's until the end phase. So it's a pretty complicated card, and I'm going to direct you guys to a friend of mine's blog, GoYugiOh.com by J. Kim. He's a really good player, and I respect him a lot. And he also did a very good review of this card, and I'm sort of going to be echoing a lot of his points because I agree with them. But yeah, it's a great blog in general, and you guys should all check it out if you like what I'm doing here. He's trying to do a lot of the same things. So anyway, on to Tragoedia. So yeah, its effect is pretty complicated. Like Gore's Emissary of Darkness, you can special summon it when you take battle damage. But unlike Gore's, it's not just when you have no cards in the field. You can summon it whenever you take battle damage. Like if they attack over your monsters and you have set back rows, you can still summon it, which is really good. Because Gore's sort of requires some setup, and a lot of times it's sort of an easy read for your opponent. If you're like obviously trying not to put cards in the field, they'll think you have Gore's, whereas Tragoedia you can play just like you normally would and then drop it sort of as a surprise. And then so it gains 600 attack and defense for each card in your hand. And this effect is kind of weird because a lot of players I think that they're going to drop Gore's and it's going to have like 2400, 3000 attack, but in all honesty, that's not really going to happen that much, because if you think about it, to drop it at 3000 attack, that means you have 6 cards in hand already before you drop Tragoedia, one of them being Tragoedia, obviously. And if you probably have some cards in the field too, then that means that you've just been like drawing and passing for like 3 turns in a row and setting cards, so it's really not going to happen. Usually Tragoedia will probably be at like 1200 or 1800. And at 1800, it's still like a very good card. I mean, if you want to put it in a different context, if you had an 1800 like 4-star monster that had the effects Tragoedia does, then it'd be amazing. So Tragoedia is a pretty good card. Yeah, so it's very easy to summon that way. It can be a dead card a lot of times, which I think a lot of players are foreseeing and correctly, but also they're too afraid of that. It's going to be a dead card if you have like complete control of the game, but if it's more back and forth, then Tragoedia is really good and can break a game wide open. And it also is very good at preventing the OTKs that like Cat Synchro or Blackwings can put out, because you can just drop it during the battle phase and block some of their attacks or all of their attacks, then come back next turn. And that's really good, and I think that's good for this format. That Tragoedia is coming out, it makes the Cat Synchro players think a lot more, because I mean they don't know if they'll want to OTK, or they fear you might have Tragoedia or Gore's or something. So I think that's good, and it should put a stop to some of the sort of ridiculous OTKs that are sort of happening too often, I think. So moving on to its second effect, you can send one monster from your hand or graveyard to take control of a face-up monster, same level. This effect, honestly, is probably not going to go off that often. You want to be pitching level 4 or level 3 monsters most often, because, I mean, that's what they're going to have on their field. And most decks at the moment run a lot of those, so it shouldn't be too much trouble to, like, actually do it, but the problem being is that, like, I don't know if there'll be that many times when you'll want to activate this effect, or if you'll have the cards in hand too. But, when you do activate the effect, though, it's pretty game breaking. I mean, it's basically a snatch steal, especially since they don't get the card back. Yeah, it's you lose one card, they lose one card, and you gain a card, so it's a +1 if you want to think about it that way. And yeah, that's just amazing if you get it off, but it's probably not going to happen that often. And So then the last effect, once per turn, you can make it become the same level as a monster in your graveyard. That's probably not going to matter that often as well. It's supposed to be used for combos with tuners and stuff, but yeah, it's probably just not going to go off that often. But yeah, you never know. I mean, it's a good effect to have. It doesn't hurt. So, Tragoedia, yeah, again, going back to it's dark and it's level 10. So that means that if you're offering it for Dark Strike, you're going to be doing 2,000 damage, which is a fourth of your life points. That it's too much damage, really. Sort of proves why Dark Strike Fighter is kind of a ridiculous card. And dark, so that means you can allure it. And also, if you only have one card in hand or 0 cards in hand, then it'll be at 600 or 0 attack, respectively. And you can crush card it, which is also a pretty big deal for something like, I don't know, Blackwings or Cat Synchro that might not have that many targets. It's just added on targets. Sort of situational, but it can happen. So, yeah, it can actually happen pretty often. So I think that's a pretty big plus to Tragoedia, actually. So, if you want to look at this card sort of in the bigger picture of the game, I really don't think it's a good card for the game. Sure, I said it stops Cat OTKs and Blackwing OTKs right now, but if the format ever slows down, which, to be honest, I don't think it will, because Konami is going to keep printing these sort of ridiculous special summon cards that can swing for a ton of damage. But, yeah, Tragoedia, just like, I don't think that with cards like Gores and Tragoedia, I don't think that the fear of like attacking your opponent is very healthy for the game. I mean, you can say it adds skill, like should I attack them or not, but I just really don't think that's ever a choice you should have to make. Like if you get them into a position, if you've outplayed them successfully and gotten them into a position where they have no cards and nothing to stop you, I don't think they should just be able to say, oh, well, I have Tragoedia, or oh, I have Gores, and stop your push. That's just really not fair in my opinion. And you can say sort of, well, he should have considered that they have Tragoedia and that adds skill. But yeah, I just really think that it's not good for the game, and it can help a worse player come back from a good player's outplaying of them, if that makes any sense. So I think that's gonna put an end to the Tragoedia review. It's a very good card, especially in gadgets, Tragoedia gadgets, Tragets, whatever you want to call them. Are a very good deck and will probably be seen a lot at Shonen Jump Indie. And it's also good in Blackwings because they also have Black Whirlwind. It makes all their Blackwings gadgets basically, so they can search cards to their hand to use for Tragoedia's effect or just to give it increased attack. And so Tragoedia gadgets and Blackwings are very good places for this card. And yeah, it'll probably be seen a lot. I think Tragoedia gadgets are a very good deck, and it's also helpful that they're like a very good budget deck. You can build them for pretty cheap if you want to. So that'll help a lot of new players who might not have the money to sort of invest in a top tier deck. They can just run Tragoedia gadgets. And I think that'll put an end to the Tragoedia review. It's a very good card. We'll be seeing a ton of indie. That's the first jump where it's legal, so I'm interested to see what sort of the top players can do with this card. Alright, thanks YouTube. Hope you liked the video. Please subscribe. See you later.